Hello and welcome everybody to episode 9 of Be the Wellness podcast. We are about to launch the first day of spring, I believe.
March Madness.
No, April.
April. Sorry, I'm a month behind. April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
I knew it was April.
Oh boy.
Okay, moving on. Now that we know what month it is.
We're clear on all that. Hope everybody had a nice off week. We are this is probably going to be kind of a short and sweet podcast because you guys are all experts and there's only a few things that we want to kind of hammer out. But before we get into that, what's going on with you, Vanessa?
I'm just hanging out with my mama. It's Easter. You're far away.
Yeah.
But I'm hanging with mom, and hopefully everyone's going to get to know my mom in the next coming weeks. We're going to do a couple podcasts more focused on the meditation side of things and a little bit more on the spiritual or maybe just kind of mindfulness stuff. So she'll hopefully be joining us in the next couple of weeks, and you guys will get to know her.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Everybody's
what are you doing?
I'm working.
Bubby's at work.
Yeah. Work.
Yeah.
Only got up 7 times last night.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, it was. I'm so glad. I worked overtime in a different battalion yesterday, and I'm glad that that's not my normal deal, man. It's just they're busy.
That's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have to do anything, but still, you
have to wake up.
You wake up a lot. Yeah. That's
like the worst part. That used to be my least favorite thing about getting woken up in the middle of the night for a call and then not going anywhere. This is just like, that's just bullshit. That's just mean.
Ooh, all right. With another explicit mark in iTunes. It's all right.
Oops. That's just baloney.
Oh, it's baloney. Anyway, all right. So that's probably enough senseless banter.
Yes. Moving on to something more sensical.
Okay. So first thing that I want to cover is the difference between giant sets, circuits, and the AMRAP. And so if you guys went through your prep tasks, you saw a couple of these things pop up in there, the giant set and the AMRAP. And I just want to get into those a little bit more in detail because for some of you, if you're really just new to training or you're just working your way through this and you don't want to add any complexity to it, then you can probably just ignore the next 5 minutes of me talking because these are just kind of finer details to let you know the intent behind some of these different workouts so that, if you care, you can kind of fine tune things a little bit. So let me start with the giant sets. So these are primarily strength oriented, and you're going to see them at the beginning of the week when you're nice and fresh after your weekend. And they have built-in rest cycles along with the repetitions, and they're kind of in the higher rep range. So they're sort of in the hypertrophy, which is like muscle growth, and strength endurance range. So when you see a giant set, think about making them nice and heavy. So these should be performed with the heaviest weight that you can safely use, and that in probably bias weight over a more complex movement. Right, so if you say, for instance, the deadlift, I'd rather have you do a barbell deadlift heavy than do a contralateral dumbbell deadlift light, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense? Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to you. Perfect. Okay, and then so the next one we're just calling a circuit, and I mean all 3 of these that we're going to talk about could probably be considered circuits because they're going from one exercise to the next, but just for clarity, we're going to call them 3 different things: giant sets, circuits, and then the AMRAP. And so the second one is the circuit. And similar to a giant set, it's going to have prescribed work and sometimes prescribed rest. But the intent is less about strength and more about doing the amount of work and rest without stopping. So this is a little bit more conditioning based, but still, working the muscles a little bit. It's not an all-out sprint like the AMRAP, which we'll talk about in a minute, but you shouldn't take more than like 30 seconds or so between movements. So let's say it's a circuit of push-ups, pull-ups, and squats. Bang out your push-ups and then take no more than 30 seconds to meander over to your pull-up apparatus and bust out your pull-ups, and then take no more than 30 seconds to get into your perfect squat stance. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay,
You're doing
cool.
good.
Killing it today.
Completely clear on what is the circuit now.
Okay. And then, so the AMRAP, which stands for as many rounds as possible, and that's always going to be AMRAP and then some given time frame, is just about as bad as it sounds. These are all about work capacity. So how much work can you do in a given amount of time? So to that end, this is the place to use movement variations that you're really comfortable with, and you're not necessarily reaching, so to speak. So I'll use the pull-up for an example again. So if the AMRAP is 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 squats, and you don't have 5 good solid pull-ups, then I would prefer you do a variation that you can hit 5 of very comfortably. Because what's going to end up happening, so like a ring row or an assisted pull-up of some kind. Because what's going to happen here is as your heart rate gets up and you start to get fatigued, your form's going to break down really quickly. So we would much rather have you doing something that is, easy for you from a form perspective. Because this is all about jacking up your heart rate, kind of getting that metabolic conditioning going on.
So this is going to look a lot like those CrossFit Metcons that maybe some of you guys have done or have seen or have thought about doing. This is more about sort of balls to the wall, getting the work done.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to try to keep them super short too. So you shouldn't see any AMRAPs over 12 minutes, say. And that's because we care about you guys.
And because 12 minutes feels like a lifetime when you're doing this kind of work.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's fun. You guys enjoy it and don't stress out on it. Don't get too worried, about if you're doing everything perfect. This is just about learning. This is about us introducing new concepts to you and you guys being able to manage them in little bite-sized pieces as we move forward in the program. So don't get stressed out about it being too complex, or like Adam said, if you're new to exercise or you're new to this kind of strength and conditioning stuff, just take it slow, ease into it, ask us questions, and just, don't worry.
Yeah, very well said. And actually, and that goes for a lot of the mobility stuff that we're going to be doing as well. Because we're introducing a bunch of that this coming month. So.
Yeah, and there's going to be positions and variations of things that you're going to be asked to do in the mobility stuff. And if for some reason you can't get into that position or something's going on, always know that a default that you can always go to is just literally rolling out whatever part of your body you can't get into that position because of. So it's like, if you're struggling with something, think, all right, I can't do this as prescribed. And of course, we try to give you options and ways to modify things. But if you just get stuck, always know that you can just roll. And that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, for sure. I think, what does Kelly say? If it feels sketchy, it's probably sketchy. So, I think we humans have a pretty good barometer for when they're going to hurt themselves.
Yes.
So, listen to your human.
Yes. Do not abort the meat vehicle.
Yeah.
And that will be really difficult after the AMRAPs because you will want to leave your body.
Yeah.
And you may have not come back into consciousness when you're doing some of this mobility. So take it easy.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of leaving bodies, did you want to talk about the meditation?
Yes. So just really quickly wanted to touch on the meditation podcast and the format of that. It's a really simple, straightforward format. We didn't want to make things super complicated or add on a bunch more work, but there is just, one question a day, and it's going to be the same question throughout the entire meditation. And really the question is about if anything lights you up, and if so, what is it? And an opportunity to share that with the group if you feel inclined to do so. But when I talk about getting lit up by something, it's subject matter or anything that elicits a response from you. So sometimes it could be frustration, anger, sadness. It could be anything that gets you feeling in a more profound way. So obviously meditation's meant to be relaxing, it's meant to be peaceful, but sometimes, some of the subject matter and some of the topics that I address during the guided meditations might cause a reaction. And I think some of you mentioned on various meditations last month that you had reactions to things that surprised you. And so I just want to, preface this whole experience of the meditation podcast with that sense of, yes, this, although it is about calmness and calming down and all those things, there might be some subject matter that gets you lit up and gets you feeling a little bit, of unrest. So if you do feel that, if you want to share that with the group, that's great. If not, don't feel like, oh, this is weird. This is meditation. This is supposed to make me feel calm. Yet now I'm feeling a little anxious about this, or it evoked some emotion in me that wasn't what I was expecting from this experience. So I'm just trying to forewarn you guys, if you experience a range of emotions, just go with it. It's probably something that you need to work through, that needs a little bit more light shined on it. And don't feel like you have to solve it during that meditation, but just recognize that that's probably coming to you for a reason, and it's something that might be important to look at. So when I talk about, getting lit up, that's what we're talking about. And hopefully you guys get something out of these meditations. They're literally just Vanessa mind spasms of things that I think all the time. And this is basically how I talk to Adam all the time. So if at any point you get frustrated about what I'm talking about, just think how Adam feels.
It's not that bad.
Imagine you're on a rock and there's waves all around you.
Like, what does this have to do with breakfast?
And if anything, laugh, because I will take your laughter and you can make fun of it. You can do whatever, but just, let's have fun with it. Let's not take it too seriously. And hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, it is going to be super cool. I've listened to, because we do all of our own audio engineering, which I don't know if you guys could tell or not, but yeah. What that means, though, is that I listen to every single one of those things about 14 times before it's done and produced, which is cool. I do a lot of meditating, which I need to do.
Well, and I try to ask Adam for feedback, and he's always like, I don't know. I listen to it like the same line 14 times in a row. So it's not really possible to give an unbiased opinion because he feels like they're all really annoying by the time he's done. True love.
It is.
So anyhow, okay, the next thing that we just quickly wanted to talk about was this subject and this topic that's going to come out in tomorrow's first article. And this is calories don't matter until they do. And, this is always a subject that Adam and I tread lightly around, because the whole thing about paleo is you don't have to watch calories. You don't have to, really worry about how much you're eating and all that stuff. And it's totally true up until you decide that you want to keep losing body fat, or you want to elicit some changes from your body that have stopped. And so one thing, and the first thing I usually tell clients who've reached some kind of plateau is, are you at your ideal body weight? And this is one thing that we struggle with a lot as people, I think, and especially as women, is typically our ideal body weight is a little bit heavier than we actually want to be. So we have to fight a little bit harder to get down below a certain amount of body fat, because our bodies don't generally naturally want to let go of that last little bit of safety fluff. So, that's the first thing is, okay, do you really need to actually lose extra body fat, or do you want to? That's kind of the first thing you've got to get clear on. And then if you decide, okay, I want to, that's cool. We get it. And I think it's a nice tool to understand how to lean out. But once you get to that point, it is really hard to give you a prescription unless we do kind of a one-on-one with you, because it's just so individual. It's so specific. So do whatever you guys can do to get yourself as far as you can. But at some point, if you're stuck, we really can't help you beyond, guessing what's going on with you unless we do a one-on-one. So just putting that out there to you guys, we will help you as much as we can, but just know, like, at some point it might make sense just to go, all right, we need an hour together to figure it out. So Good luck with all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the formulas and stuff are really not that difficult, right? But it's just, as you'll read through it, anytime that you have a question of, should I be doing this or should I be doing this? All that answer is going to depend on exactly what Vanessa was saying, a bunch of background information and training history and diet history and all that kind of stuff. So
Right. And it's just really tricky when you're getting down to the last little bit of body fat, for us to just go, that's going to be great for you, because we just really don't know until we know. So, just follow the formulas, keep trekking and keep going until you reach a point where you're like, okay, I think I don't know if I'm doing this correctly or if I need a little bit of even further tweaking, and then hit us up. But, the formulas are there and they work and they're really effective. So don't feel intimidated by them and trust that they're the right formulas.
Yeah. It's just math.
It is just math. So I think that's really all we had this week. We are, obviously on an off week. So there was just a lot of hanging out and chit chatting back and forth this week, but not too much more to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there was something else, but it's escaping me.
Okay.
So maybe just more senseless banter for a moment, and we'll see if I come up with it.
Well, Adam and I are headed to the big Coachella Music Festival this weekend in Palm Springs. So we are looking forward to seeing some awesome bands, and the headliner is
AC/DC.
The epic AC/DC.
Yeah.
Which should be very, very interesting.
Yeah. And apparently it's still all of the same guys.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that cool?
I thought that some of them died, but apparently not.
No.
Still kicking.
That was Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
AC/DC is all original.
That's funny.
All right, guys. Well, did you think of your last thing?
It's gone. But that's fine. We've got other modes of communicating with folks.
Yes, we do. So have a great Easter, everyone. We hope you're enjoying time with your family or just enjoying your time off this week. And we look forward to getting rolling with you guys on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Tell me what you want. what you want from me, 'cause I can't stay, I can't stay. No one ever said that it might not be enough. This is love, so much love, but something still ain't right. Sweet serenity of the years we've known. We danced around this dream way too long and fly free. I don't know where the waves of the wind will take me. Fly free. I gotta chase a dream even if it breaks me. You can't change my mind this time. Gonna fly free. I don't wanna leave, but I gotta say goodbye. got no parachute, but I